by Damon Cassidy. WTF is happening to entry-level jobs.
Gen Z is facing the worst entry-level job market in nearly 40 years, with 2/3 of all entry-level roles filled by those with over 7 years of work experience. And with most employers not even considering hiring recent grads, AI is projected to...
Bro, wait, percent said Gen Z is the hardest age group to work with. Oh no, I don't know. I don't work with anybody that's like Gen Z. Does anybody like have issues with that when they go to work?
All entry-level roles filled by those with over 7 years of work experience. And with most employers not even considering hiring recent grads, AI is projected to eliminate 50% of all entry-level roles just within the next 4 years.
Yeah, dude, I've been hearing lately, and I feel like it's a good take that now college degrees aren't worth as much, so college shouldn't cost as much. But I mean, obviously colleges aren't going to do that and devalue themselves, but I agree. Like, it doesn't mean that you're going to get a job out of college, which is crazy. But I'm sorry it's so early that I'm pausing so much. But man, I'm probably going to have a lot to say on this. I do recruiting for a job, by the way, just so that you understand why I'm talking about it so much.
Raising the question, will Gen Z's career be nothing more than dead-end jobs? Well, you'd think that with every generation having been sold on the importance of a college education, only to then graduate into a job market actively gutting entry-level jobs, that as Gen Z faces the worst layoff since 2009, the second straight year of historic job revisions, stagnant wages, and mass outsourcing, all alongside rapid technological expansion, it would finally be enough to prove the system is failing the nation's workforce. But instead, society continues to lack any forward thinking.
When they talk about the recent grads having a hard time finding work, poor you, suck it up, Buttercup. I came out and started working after the dot-com collapse in 2000. Like,
I hate when they do, when, you know, kind of old head people like that do that. Like, they just use their past as like a justification of why you shouldn't struggle currently, which is like, it's been easier in the past historically. Like, it's harder now than it has ever been for people to do anything, to like get a home, to get an education that is valuable anymore. Like, to do any of the things, raise a family. Like, it was it $340,000 now to get a kid from, you know, birth to high school, like graduate high school. And then that doesn't even count college. So you're spending like $500,000 to raise a kid nowadays. Like, who's just like, you know, popping out 3-4 kids, you know, you got $2 million in the bank. I don't know. And I don't know, that arrogant talk is so annoying, because even at my job, like a couple of weeks ago, it was different. But right now it's like, I couldn't put anybody on if I wanted to. There's no room. Everybody likes working apparently. So no one's leaving. And that's good for me, because now I'm chilling. But it's harder to get a job now. I agree. And especially where I'm at, I've been in the same place since 30 years in Vegas. So, you know, I know how it used to be to get a job, and it was actually really easy. And now, oh my God, it's a struggle. So you just keep whatever you have, even if it's not that good and they don't treat you that well. Oh, and let me put this on. Oh, you know what? I could just click the button. I'm tripping. All right. Anyway, that'll go. But no, yeah. Okay, I'll stop ranting, yapping.
it's supposed to be difficult.
Leaving Gen Z to pay the cost of decades of economic mismanagement, as the nation prioritized a pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality over actually addressing the systemic issues. As a relentless push for a college education, deindustrialization, and the endless pursuit of shareholder profits all took hold throughout the 1980s, corporate hiring practices fundamentally abandoned the firm handshake mentality, prioritizing the bottom line over long-term workforce stability, particularly when it came to entry-level roles. A Time magazine piece titled "The Blue-Collar Workers' Low-Down Blues" captured the growing despair among America's working class through
For example, brings home $100 a week and he sees no way that he can finance a college education for his 8-year-old son. Wes asks, what kind of future does my kid have when you can't even get a job with a high school education? And some blue, that's crazy that they thought that before, because that used to not be true at all. But I think now it's becoming more true, and they are requiring it. They're just not hiring you, which is crazy, because they, like he said, oh, there it goes. 7 years of experience, you know, on average is what is getting jobs. But I've always said, like, everybody lies on their resume. Everybody lies on their resume. So, I mean, don't like completely lie, but you can brush it up a little bit and say you've worked, you know, stretch a place that you worked at or something like that. Like, I mean, I don't advise it because people can find out pretty easily. Like, we got ways, but, you know, I mean, especially if it's just a whatever job like McDonald's or something or Taco Bell, like you could easily get a job like that without a college degree. That's not one that you need it for. But I think they do require that you graduated high school, which sometimes is a struggle for people.
Workers like William West, a crane operator in a coil plant in Braddock, Pennsylvania, who saw no way to finance a college education for his 8-year-old son, asking, "What kind of future does my kid have when you can't even get a job with a high school education?" Throughout the 1980s, only 28% of all jobs created were in high-level occupations, leaving high school graduates to fill the growing opportunities concentrated in low-wage service work such as waitstaff and janitorial roles, with wages for young men falling from $12.19 in 1979 to $8.72 in 1990.
Bro, I didn't know that. Wow, they messed it up like way before people thought it was messed up. I mean 1995. I was born in 96, so, you know, I didn't know any different. It was $8 when I came out, you know? So I didn't know it was 12 at one point. That's crazy. They were getting paid really well. That's why it was so good before. Wow. And that's like minimum, you know? Or no, not minimum, but like average wages. Because everyone was paying minimum wage, I think, or like significantly more, and then minimum wage kind of like crept up. But anyway, wow.
95. Well,
oh, I was gonna say, although like older people now, well, not to hate on them or anything, but the older people now are working these kind of jobs. Like 30, 40-year-olds are working at like Taco Bell and McDonald's and Wendy's and stuff, like, and Target, Walmart, whatever, you know. But like, yeah, I feel like it's like older people now that work there when it should be, those people should be in higher positions because they've worked so long, you know? Like they've done something, so they should be in higher positions, but I guess those just get filled up and those people never leave, which is the problem. And then you just run out of spaces and whatever. But it's so annoying how that whole thing works because they already have favorites to like fill it. Whatever. I'll stop ranting. Jesus, we're only 2 minutes in. This is gonna be way too long.
Wages for young women declined from $9 and a penny to $7.43, setting the foundation for an entry-level job market where a college degree became the true barrier to entry. Alongside a high school education becoming worthless in the eyes of employers, and fathers having to apologize to their sons for the embarrassment of their blue-collar occupations, the collective pursuit of a college education simply turned a degree into just another baseline in hiring, shifting entry-level roles to begin demanding years of work experience. Don Franklin, director of executive recruitment for Gimbel's Midwest, told the New York Times in 1983, "A few years ago, we were happy to find students who had done well academically and were enthusiastic about our company. Now, in addition to good grades, most of my colleagues in retailing are hiring graduates who have had work experience, preferably in this field, and who played a leadership role in extracurricular activities. At the same time, the oversupply of graduates began forcing many into positions far below their qualifications." Bob Junius, manager of college relations for Continental Bank, noted that more and more graduates, specifically those in liberal arts, tell our recruiters that they are willing to be tellers or secretaries if they cannot get into one of our management training programs. But we ultimately choose.
Dude, I hate all the corporate speak because all of it's like sounds good, but it's made to sound good. So that all sounds like you might have, if you cannot get in, like that means you're probably not going to get in. And then management training program. So you have to get through the training program first and you can barely get into the, you know what I'm saying? Like it all sounds nice, but it's all dressed up to be that way. That's what's so annoying about corporate. But I've been in it so long that I feel like I'm good at it. So I'm, you know, speaking my language there, you know?
Not to hire them, as we suspect that they would become frustrated, and as a result, less productive if we couldn't move them into a better job relatively quickly. And we just can't guarantee that, resulting in tens of thousands of young individuals being pushed into dead-end roles that limited long-term career mobility, setting the—
Yeah, bro, and they just told you that it was like, oh, dude, like 2 years, 1 year, you'll be running this whole place. But it's like, you can only tell that to so many people, because if everyone actually did it, there'd be no spaces left. So it's just like a flawed model.
Foundation for the nation's workforce to be forced to work more hours than nearly any other developed country just to barely scrape by. And rather than taking the steps needed to ensure that the next generation entered a fundamentally different system, Gen X was met with the same response. Suck it up, buttercup. Gen X, adhering to the same societal promise their parents had received, entered adulthood during the highly competitive dot-com boom and bust, where a growing surplus of college graduates, combined with prior work experience already becoming the baseline in hiring.
And the craziest thing is you'd actually just walk into Target and be like, "Hey, can I work here?" And then they'd be like, "Yeah, we'll give you an interview." And it just happened like that. And it was like simple. Like before Gen Z's time, I guess, cuz y'all were not looking for jobs at the time. But it was so easy to get a job. Like I went out and got a movie job at the movie theater like nothing. Like it was so easy and I stayed there for like years. So, I mean, I feel like it used to be really really easy. But now it's like, nah, like if you just getting into a job, you're gonna get like a seasonal or like something that gives you less than 20 hours. So you won't even want to keep working it to get the promotion. So, it's tough. I don't know how they're gonna do it.
Allowed companies to offer far lower wages to the first generation carrying substantial student loan debt, effectively turning entry-level jobs into roles requiring expert-level ability for entry-level pay. John Conway, an intellectual property lawyer, reflected in 2001, "We were stuck in entry-level jobs, and the income didn't increase with the cost of living. Everything is delayed, from home buying to child rearing. In the middle of the game, the rules changed, and the bar for success was raised beyond our means once again." And rather than redefine how the nation's future could combat these rising costs and stagnant wages, did millennials receive the wisdom needed to course correct and avoid repeating history? By 2008, millennials had become the most educated generation in history, with 70% pursuing higher education by the age of 25.
And then it's going to test the same model, and then there are not going to be enough spots, and then they're just going to run you through oh well, it'll be just this period of time, and maybe.
Yet within a year, unemployment for young adults surged to 19.2%, double the national average. And despite the entry-level job market already demanding a college degree and work experience, all for embarrassingly low pay, companies increasingly turn to internships as a direct replacement for traditional entry-level roles. In 1992, only 17% of college students had participated in an internship, but by 2008, the number had increased to 83%, with a 2010 NBC report revealing.
Yeah, they loved that too. I bet they milked it because most of it was unpaid. So they were just getting free work from everybody with the promise of a job that it would never actually come. And that was like more drastic than the current cycle is. Like that's so much worse. And they were just that was how it was. You would get an internship at Google or some big company and they'd promise you could work there, but they're only going to pick a certain amount of interns and they have too many. They always do that so they can like seek talent. It's just like, it's kind of unethical, but there's ethical standards to it. You know what I mean? It's all corporate,
Feeling that employers posted 3 times more unpaid internships than just 2 years prior. And by 2016, the global financial crisis resulted in millennial families to be 34% below wealth expectations. But instead of confronting how the system had failed, older generations dismissed the outcome as nothing more than laziness and entitlement.
Yeah, dude, I made a couple videos on that where I don't think it's that they don't want to work, they obviously want to work, but they don't want to work for certain conditions. Like a lot of jobs now, like they're mean to you. They're straight up mean. And they just are like, you're a number. We'll just replace you next week. So if you're not going to get on board, then get out of here. There's no training. Nobody you don't ever learn anything past like the first week or two. You're just doing the same thing forever. You're not like learning a new skill or like developing as a worker. But yeah, no, they want to work, but it's not for that, the treatment or the pay. A lot of times the pay, I don't understand. $12 an hour, 18 hours a week. I mean, you're not even getting any money at that point. Like, why even go commute the time to work? I mean, dude, Uber or DoorDash at that point, you'd be making more money.
Entitlement, with not a single thing having been done to prevent it from happening again. While the United States has lost 43% of mid-wage occupations since the global financial crisis and gained 58% more low-wage jobs, Gen Z is now aggressively
is that what they do back there, bro? I didn't even know
financial
that.
crisis and gained 58%.
It's just a gross dispenser that probably has like crusty like condiment on it. Ugh. And then it's touching your burger like ugh. I don't know. And then like if they change it, there's just like some old stuff. You think they like clean it out, Ugh. Yikes, that's a bad visual.
More low-wage jobs, Gen Z is now aggressively competing for lower quality roles, straddled with immense levels of debt.
Yo, are they already getting rid of people in what?
since the global financial crisis and gained 58% more
Sorry.
low-wage jobs. Gen Z is now
Dude, they're straight robots doing everything.
aggressively competing for lower quality roles.
Y'all are working right next to it? I'm a little confused here.
Straddled with immense levels of debt in a market where over 70% of entry-level jobs require a college degree and nearly 40% demand 3 to 5 years of experience, all while median entry-level wages sit just slightly above what a Ford factory worker earned in 1914, in a system where even internships no longer function as an entry point into the workforce. Despite 75% of employers claiming they are struggling to fill job vacancies,
You can't even find an internship anymore. They don't offer them. They're not doing it anymore. So, like, it's just definitely not an option anymore, like at all. And like, I wonder why. I wonder why they're not even allowing that to happen.
the second highest rate in 2 decades, a 2022 study of 300 job applications.
Oh, sorry. Because you can't they know you can't promise it. So any amount of time, they're just not going to buy it. So oh, my cat pushed it. They're not going to buy it when you're like, oh yeah, you'll get a job in 2 years. They still haven't got a job. Like, the pipeline's way too full.
Submitted by Business.com's departing interns found that only 12% received any response, just 5% expressed interest, and not a single application resulted in a hire, with candidates actually more like.
No way. 272 no answer. What do you mean no answer? Like, you called them one time? I hope you called them a couple of times. Responses to job applications, communications received in response to 311 job. Oh, this is someone putting in 311 job applications. Gotcha. Well, 5 interviews out of 311 is actually really good. I would have said more like 1%, 2-3%. Maybe that's kind of hovering around there. Screened out. Oof, that's rough. No further contact. Applicant declined interview. Employer rejected. Ugh. Employer canceled. Employer canceled? What are you talking about, bro? What does that mean?
Interest, and not a single application resulted in a hire, with candidates actually more likely to be ghosted when they met over 90% of the listed requirements. And when this is compared to unemployment data, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York found that among college graduates aged 22 to 27, computer science and computer engineering majors now face some of the highest unemployment rates in the country, more than double those of biology and even art history graduates. At the same time, nearly 60% of entry-level roles within the IT industry now require 3 to 5 years of experience, all while the share of IT workers within the H-1B program has surged to over 65% over the last 5 years.
And the problem with that, like those jobs actually do like research your resume. They'll call previous employers and stuff. Like, some jobs, they don't do it, but some of them, they will. They'll call and make sure that you actually work there for that period of time. And like, if you're doing that and it's entry level, you're requiring 3 years, like, oh my God, bro. Like, you're going to have a hard time finding somebody that you actually like. That's why they're going through all these interviews. There's not the perfect person. Like, you're supposed to train the perfect person. Like, we get you in the system, and then the company is supposed to like train you up and get you to be a manager or whatever, is in your potential. But I guess that's just not how it works anymore. I don't know why. It makes the most sense to me.
Now, I've discussed in great detail on the channel how the majority of AI layoffs are just H-1B replacement, even getting Dr. Ron Hira, the leading expert in American outsourcing, to discuss the systemic abuse that H-1B exploitation has caused on the American workforce, and how the $100,000 fee is nothing more than a complete facade. However, every discussion I've had has framed the crisis as the outsourcing of mid-grade tech roles for cheaper wages.
Oh, wait a minute. So this is an Elon Musk tweet. I didn't know what I was reading.
Since, by definition, the whole point of the H-1B program is to allow employers to hire skilled foreign workers in specialty occupations that the United States does not have enough of. But it was recently brought to my attention by a friend who just entered an IT role at a sales company that every entry-level role in his department is filled by H-1B workers. In fact, it appears that the majority of H-1B approvals are now specifically for entry-level positions.
Oh no, because they're working for lower wages. They're okay with like lower wages. I see. Oh yeah, that's really not good. Because then we're letting it be run by like, corporate greed and stuff. And it's completely opposite of like how it probably should be here. Like in, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that's probably a weird take, but I don't know. That's really interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know they were all opting for like the cheapest labor possible. Like, wouldn't that result in like bad product at some point, or has that not hit yet?
Positions. And you can even go on Indeed or ZipRecruiter and find run-of-the-mill entry-level jobs explicitly offering H-1B sponsorship, meaning that the growing demand for experience within the entry-level market may not actually be about experience at all, but is instead structured
Yo, no way, bro. I didn't know that.
in a way that legally justifies hiring cheaper foreign labor, highlighting just how far both companies and our government are willing to go to enrich the pockets of shareholders at the cost of developing the skill sets needed for the future of the American workforce.
Yeah.
And even for the small percentage of Gen Z that actually manages to break through and land one of these so-called entry-level roles, what they're met with is not an opportunity for a career, but a job that pays less, offers no real benefits,
Exactly.
provides little to no pathway for advancement, and ultimately does nothing to address the issues actually plaguing society. Which is why I'm grateful to be partnered with 80,000 Hours. 80,000 Hours
Oh, I didn't know this was a sponsor. Okay. We'll skip that.
channel, alongside Gen Z facing the compounded effect of what
Sorry, Damon Cassidy, but I just gotta skip
each generation previously had to endure, they're also running into what will inevitably be the largest disruptor in the history of the human workforce, LinkedIn. I'm just kidding, it's AI. Now, a large inspiration behind this video was a recent post by Josh Burson, often cited as a leading HR and workplace analyst, explaining why AI will not be replacing entry-level jobs because they're just so important. His argument is predominantly
I was gonna say, because that's like, yeah, it's the lowest paid one and you can get it the cheapest, but that's the one that matters the most. Like, that's when you go to freaking Taco Bell or whatever and it's just badass service and you're like, wow, that's what they do here. Okay. And that was the person that you're now paying like $12 an hour, you know, and they're cool with it, but they're making you look bad potentially. I mean, we should, because eventually they're not going to be able to work anymore in that position sooner than the Gen Z people, but they will have never worked a job because nobody gave them the opportunity. So they're going to suck at working, which is normal. Like, we got to give them a chance to get the experience, you know?
centered on the fact that most companies view entry-level jobs as the way to build teams that can develop into senior roles that will eventually lead the organization, as they serve so many other purposes besides just getting work done. And in many ways, I actually think that he made some pretty good points. However, I unfortunately think that his career ladder framework is just not an accurate representation of the modern job market. As with everything we've discussed, it's that one, entry-level jobs by definition just do not exist anymore. And two, this decay has been happening for over 40 years. That's 4 decades of a lack of investment. If it mattered as much as Burson and other economists say, we would have been taking care of entry-level jobs. We wouldn't be having this conversation altogether.
Yeah, I feel like we all knew it was going to get bad already. Like, it was already harder to get a job before, but now that we have it so bad, it's like, oh yeah, it was easy before. But it was still hard before. Before that, you know, before our time, my time, then it was even easier to get a job. Like, you just knew somebody and they'd be like, oh yeah, hire Joe. And then they'd go hire Joe. You know, that's how it went. You just knew somebody. And that's what people think still works, but I don't know, it doesn't work. But yeah, anyway, super interesting.
According to resume.org,
This whole video is like crazy interesting. I'm sorry, nobody's going to be into this, I assume, but I'm into it, so that's okay.
by the end of 2026, 36% of companies say they will have frozen entry-level hiring, and by 2027, 47% expect to eliminate it entirely. Even Anthropic's CEO, who has famously predicted that 50% of entry-level jobs will be gone by 2030, regardless of his true intentions, never actually frames the shift around creating new entry-level opportunities or alternative ways to developing young workers. Instead, he frames it around the fact that AI can work 8-hour shifts without breaks or burnout, which to me perfectly shows the true intention behind this push for AI. Now, despite there being some unbelievably strong cases for why AI is not even remotely close to fully automating entry-level jobs, with MIT finding that 95% of generative AI pilots at companies are failing, a separate
Oh wow, really? This is like the success rate? Automation rate. Current AI systems could already take over tasks tied to 11% of the U.S. labor market, representing about 151 million workers. Holy fuck. And roughly 11.7% of total wage value, around 1.2 trillion in pay. Wow. No wonder they did it. Okay, then that was research by MIT. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I assume they're going to do that as soon as they've already done it. Like a lot of places are just. Have you seen like the factory videos that I have on my channel? It's like, man, like wow, there's no people involved at all. It's just machines already. Like I thought it was like more people, moving things, checking make sure the cap was on there or some shit. But no, like it's all just machines moving around. There's no people at all. If there is, there's like one or two that just like look at it and make sure there's no like weird, thing on it. Like a super simple job. They just like stare and then that's their job. They're not doing anything laborious, whatever. But anyway, man, I think AI is definitely going to take over for the labor jobs, which is bad. But then I didn't even think about the tech jobs getting taken over because there's a lot of tech guys who, have really crazy jobs and then they're going to need a job. So now they're going to be going, there's nowhere else to go. So you're going to go to, Target, Walmart, the basic stores, places around you to get a job. Like even if it's 16, 18, 15 an hour at that time, like you're going to take it because it's better than nothing. So that's going to completely flood the job market. And then we're all going to you better really hold on to your job.
A separate MIT study using a simulation tool called the Iceberg Index found that AI can already technically replace 11.7% of the US labor market, representing roughly $1.2 trillion in wages across finance, healthcare, and professional services, while current so-called AI layoffs account for just 2.2% of that exposure. So whether AI actually works and unemployment skyrockets in a system that has no real plan for how this technology serves a workforce, or it completely backfires and the hundreds of billions of dollars being poured into data centers through private credit and circular financing destabilizes the economy and leads to yet another bailout, combined with the severe economic consequences of a collapsing
talent. Dude, we're fucked, huh? Yeah, there's nothing because we get hit with a recession, but then there's like an innate like financial recession as well. Like it despite like that would be bad. That'd be like worse than probably like a new historic event.
On pipeline, the outcome is all the same. The burden falls on the generation entering the workforce. Because after everything we've discussed, we've spent decades trying to build a future that we think.
But does this account for like all the people that are like somehow making money now through like other means like 1099, like social media or like their own contracting of work and value? I think that's something that isn't measured with this because this is just the workforce, like people employed through, I assume, a corporate entity that's, as he mentioned, shareholders are involved. Like that doesn't happen with like a YouTube channel or like something else. And there's kids, 19, 18, 17-year-olds making like tons of money, so much money. So I think eventually that's going to create jobs for people that's different from, then it goes back to like knowing people and then it kind of starts the whole cycle over. But man, I don't know if there's any way by 2040 though. Yeah, no, there's definitely not going to be any entry-level jobs left by 2040. I think by 2030.
Think that we want, but by ignoring the cost of today, we're far more likely to end up with a future we wish we never had. And so what I hope that we're beginning to recognize is that what's happening within the entry-level job market, just like many other aspects of decay within the economy, is that it could have been prevented. None of this had to happen.
Bro, that's with literally everything. I feel like the government just like fumbles every single bag that has ever been. Like they always fumble the bag and they're just like old heads not wanting to listen to like the new generation or anything because they're all new and they couldn't know anything. When it's like y'all were the ones that invested in us upcoming. Like if y'all drop the bag on us coming up, like that's on y'all. You know what I mean? Like I don't know why it's always like, oh well, y'all are bad. It's like awful parents, like bad parenting parents, that just discipline their kid for, trying but not succeeding. And they never like foster like that relationship to grow them or train them like these should. First, are you getting down? Okay. I'll see you later. If you... All right. I'll see you later. All right.
The fact that there's individuals that entered adulthood in the 1980s and they experienced very similar difficulties within the entry-level job market and the cost of living and wage stagnation and all these different aspects, and you fast forward 40 years and we're experiencing the exact same things but worse, is a failure not only on our corrupt government and our greedy corporations, but us, our grandparents and our parents, and all the individuals that said, you know what, I'm going to get mine, screw the future. The reason that's happening is because we have turned the United States into a society of individuals and not a community. It is so much easier to see somebody that's struggling, that's fallen on hard times, ran on some bad luck or, some sort of difficulty in their life and say, you're lazy, you're entitled, you don't even know how hard I had it. It's so much easier for you these days. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Suck it up, buttercup, right? It's so much easier to do that than it is to show just an ounce of effort or care into actually addressing the issues within the system.
I think he's on fire right now. That's why I like the video, because he is spitting right now, and I didn't want to interrupt him, but it's coming towards the end of his thing, so I just wanted to chime in with that. But what was I going to say? Oh, man. Shit.
Just an ounce of effort or care into actually addressing the issue.
Oh, right. I was going to say, I feel like people don't, old head people don't understand, all the ones that are still in power currently are, so close to losing that, to getting to the point where y'all can't do the job anymore, or you get pushed out by majority, which I think is starting to happen. I don't think it's begun yet, actually, but I think it's soon going to be starting. So I feel like that's going to change everything, because everybody knows things. Now people have knowledge. Everyone 30 and under, knows everything on the internet, pretty much. So they know about the whole Epstein thing and how much stuff's getting revealed and how corporate is all now there's proof of that. People were just complaining before, and I think it kind of, seemed unreliable because everyone was just saying it was disgruntled type shit. So I think now people know shit. So it's going to get to a point where we finally do get somebody who knows what's going on to get into the place where they can actually make a change. It just is taking a long time, but by 2040, I really hope we're in a better spot. Jesus, this is terrible.
Issues within the system. I think the unfortunate reality is that not only is Gen Z facing these issues right now, and that on our horizon, I can't see how things get any better. But it's also our responsibility, because clearly nobody else is going to do it, that Gen Alpha will soon be entering adulthood. And by soon, I mean, within a couple decades. They will be entering adulthood. And what is the future like for them? Absolutely, there are still opportunities to be able to make a career today. You can enter the trades. That's what everybody's going to tell you in the comment section. Yep. It's time to get your hands dirty and actually work. You can enter the trades. You can still do it the traditional route. There are still opportunities for that. And networking and communication and social media and entrepreneurship, all of that is still absolutely valid. I'm not saying that the world is ending. I'm saying that things are getting worse. So 5 years from now, can we say if entry-level jobs or the job market is even going to look similar to what we have now? I don't think that we can.
No.
How about a decade from now? 2 decades from now? 50 years from now? It's almost, because things are so difficult, the cost of living is so bad, and wage stagnation is so bad, and we're working so much, and all these aspects, it's given us the excuse to feel like we are not responsible for what happens 50 years from now. And so when we lack responsibility and any form of accountability, well, it gives the corrupt government and the greedy corporations free reign to do whatever it is that they want. And who has to pay the prices for this? It's going to be Gen Alpha. It's going to be Gen Z.
And that's why they don't care, because they're like, most people now, I assume most people, or a good majority of people, are not having kids anymore. So a lot of those people don't have anyone, contributing to Gen Alpha. So they're just like, it's not for me, or whatever, And it's the same as like choosing not to have kids and stuff, but it is more of like a financial weight decision, because having kids is like a crazy financial decision at this point. Like, you got to be balling to be like trying to mess with that. So I assume condom companies doing really well, contraceptive companies altogether. But yeah, I don't know. It's not gonna look. I can like feel his like passion, and it's like really, it's intense, and I like it because it's like he clearly cares about this, and he has a real good message. So that's awesome.
Just like it was the baby boomers, and just like it was Gen X, and just like it was millennials, but nothing was done to stop it from happening. And so it is our responsibility to ensure that somebody is looking after the next generation. I recently just finished a heavier video, and I was kind of frustrated about the topic and things of that nature.
Okay, that's what it is then. Yeah, he seems really like it's all taken from him, his energy.
So I went to the gym, worked out, and I was sitting in the sauna. I was so exhausted, just mentally fried. There was an older gentleman sitting next to me on my right, and there was two people kind of my age. I'm 26, they were probably like 28, 29. And they were talking about what the older guy did for work. So he had some sort of company. And he was talking about how he outsources his IT-related roles at his company to Uganda. And he was talking about how fantastic it is that they will work for $5 a day. They'll work 24 hours. And if they get tired, they just sleep under their desk. And he was so enthusiastic about it.
What? $5 a day is crazy. Like, you can't even compete with that. Like, wow, this is getting bad. Because now there's the two I mentioned, the stresses on the entry-level jobs, like people getting into the workforce. And then now there's a whole new one of people coming in and taking it too. Like, there's not going to be enough jobs. There is a certain amount of jobs, and there is not enough at a certain point. Like I said, for me, as much as I like somebody, as much as I know them and everything, I couldn't put anybody on even if I wanted to. That's the point it's at. And I feel like it's going to be that way because people understand how difficult it is out there to get a job. They really do. It hits. But man.
Now, that alone, I think, is horrible. What was worse was the people around my age. They were frothing at the mouth as if like Anne Hathaway just asked them on a date. I was stunned. And I'm really frustrated at myself that I didn't say anything. I was so exhausted, so in disbelief, and so at like a loss of hope seeing that. I just didn't know what to do. But again, those are people that are the future. That wasn't private equity. That wasn't Jeff Bezos saying that. That wasn't, Microsoft and LinkedIn and all the things that we want to blame. That was two people my age in Austin, Texas, that were saying, heck yes, I can't wait to outsource American jobs to somebody that's going to have to sleep under their desk for $5 a day. And yeah, the $5 a day probably does help their family.
Wow, that's horrible. I know it's because a lot of people get paid, well, I don't know. I don't want to get into anything. Yeah, no, I'm not touching it. Never mind. I'm not touching it.
But again, do we really want to be championing having somebody have to work 24 hours sleeping under their desk for an IT-related role? I don't think that's a nation that we want to be. And the unfortunate reality is, why isn't anybody else saying this? Now, I understand that in our niche of YouTube, people are saying this, and I think that most Americans feel this. Why hasn't more been done?
Bro, nobody can. I think that's what a lot of people do struggle with. And I understand because it is frustrating, but I don't think anyone wants to do anything is the problem. Like, even people who, like I said, when people have knowledge and everything, they're going to be the ones that are in power potentially. Hopefully they can actually change something, because we cannot. The people who are in power now, and from the generation above us that currently still hold power or the potential to hold it in the future, they all are going to have like a whole lot of stuff that they can. Ugh. Oh no, brain fog. Oh yeah, they're all benefiting from it, right? So they're all benefiting so much from having the conditions be the way that they are, that they're not going to change anything. And they understand it's unethical, right? But they're just they're gonna do the wrong thing and just never say anything about it ever. That's just some people. Like, that's just how some people are.
I don't understand.
But typically the older generation, the newer one, I feel like is a lot more empathetic. I feel like they're gonna not be able to do things like that. They have too much of a moral compass, which is what we need though. Like, we need to be driven mainly by a moral compass if we want to have a community of, like he said, of people, unless we want to have just individuals that work for money and die, which is what the government wants.
Why there isn't more leadership. I don't understand why previous generations are continuing to do nothing to help. It doesn't make sense to me. And again, if you want to blame the lazy Gen Z or whatever, what about the kids right now? What about the children? We're responsible for their future. And we are wasting it. We're saying, here's an iPad, screw you. That's the unfortunate reality. I've worked many jobs. My first job was working at a garbage company. I then worked at my friend's Chinese restaurant. And then my first real job was working at Torchy's Tacos. I was the first employee hired there. I learned so much at that job, and leadership skills, time management, so many different aspects. It's a lot, there's compounding effects of me being able to do this today. I now go to the same Torchy's location that I was hired at. There's no cashiers, it's tablets. What happened to those? The opportunities for young people to be able to develop those skill sets is gone. Now, most people will say, oh, well, you need to go get a real job and, all these other things. But I look at it in the big picture, and I say, I don't think it's great that when I go into most of these restaurants, the server is an older individual. I don't think it's great that people are having to be forced out of retirement and taking the entry-level positions that would be a teenager's job. It's creating a massive collapse of the talent pipeline. And again, are you seeing anything being done to solve this?
I will say, though, I feel like there are some jobs that will train you, but it's the jobs where they run you partially on and off commission. So I worked for timeshare sales because I have a real estate license. So I was at timeshare sales for a period of time. And man, that was a whole beast. Like, that was probably the coolest job I've ever had. I got paid like $15 an hour and then plus commission on top of like any sales that we would make. So we were paid to be there, and then they would do training classes every day. They'd be training on like how we talk, like how we present ourselves, this and that. And it's a whole manipulation game. Like, if you don't know timeshare, don't even worry about it. But yeah, it's vacation ownership is what they call it now, but it's the same scam. And it's not really a scam now because people are smart, but it kind of is and isn't. You got to be the right type of person, like activity wise, income wise. It's got to make sense for you. Anyway, not talking about that. But I learned the most I've ever learned at any job there. And I've taken those skills with me probably will for the rest of my life. Like, that has been the best training ever. And it's always like those commission jobs. And when I got my real estate license, joined a couple brokerages, like they're training because they need you to make money so that they can make money. And I think that's a healthy relationship to have. Like, you make the time that they're there worth it. So if you're spending $14 an hour to have this employee, make sure you have a guy that you're paying $18 an hour to make sure he's good, every day, and train him on things, make sure he can do everything, like that's just how it should be. But I don't know. I've gotten the best experience from commission jobs. If you're into like sales or like think you're like, have personality or persuasive, like I feel like you go for it. Like, you should try it. Some people, that makes it for them. And then maybe it's not the career that ends their, search for a job in the future, but it builds them up to have like a real estate portfolio or something tangible, an asset of some sort, so that you can build money without using your time. So to basically get out of the rat race. Anyway, that was a whole long rant. This whole video is a rant, so I'm not gonna apologize for it anymore.
No, there's no incentive to. We have to provide the incentive. We have to demand the change. And we do that by leading within our own lives. So if you're going to start a company, ensure that you're doing it for the betterment of the community. You're doing it to hire local Americans. You're doing it to create lasting change. And if you're going to support them, ensure that you do your best. In whatever avenue it is that you do within your life, do the best that it is that you can. And that isn't just, I'm going to kind of half-ass it and pretend it's my best. Do your best.
Exactly. And again, that's why y'all should try, like, if it's not going to throw you off your entire life course and anything, I'm not trying to say people should change their lives or do anything, but from my experience, having a commission-based job has been the best experience for a job that I've ever had. And sometimes in those, you don't get paid. Sometimes you don't get paid, but you will get training. So it is like a give and take. But if you find one that I had, like $15 an hour, $13 an hour, $12 an hour, but they will pay you commission, like, the opportunity's there. Like, try whatever it is. It's probably going to be some phone sales thing or something, selling knives, or like, security service or something like that. Like, try it, like, I feel like they have the best trainers, coaches, like classes. Like, if you actually want to learn something, like, and be persuasive, like, that's a huge skill on its own. You can make all the money you need just off that, genuinely, just off how you present yourself and act. Like, that's why social media is a thing too. Like, there's some people that it just works with the way everyone else's mindset is. Like, didn't happen for me. I've tried this for forever, and I'm just going hard right now. But anyway, like, I don't know. I feel like that, like, either try a commission thing or like YouTube, like, try posting on social media or something, like because you're the product at that point. So just market the product. That's it. Like, however you see fit to do that, do it, but stick to it, because 3, 4, 5 years down the line, when your work hasn't developed any kind of real experience, what you've done on the side will, at least. And that's, I'm starting late, but that's kind of my hope too.
And do it for the person right next to you. Do it for the little kids. Somebody has to be looking out for them. Our country clearly isn't doing that, if you know what I'm talking about. So it's up to us to be able to protect them. And I'm going to do the best that I can. And it's starting to feel much more difficult. I'm feeling like I don't know how to do it, but I'm feeling like I'm trying to throw as many things out there as I can to try to get some engagement, get some interaction, figure out what leadership looks like for me, and try to get us moving in a forward direction, because I think everything else is trying to pull us the opposite direction. And I'm saying we have to keep our eye on the ball. And even though things are difficult for us, it's up to us to stop kicking the can down the road. And I'm going to do the best that I can in doing that. So I hope this was able to provide.
Yeah, that was a powerful ass video, man. I'm going to sub to him because I saw another video on his channel that I liked, and I was going to pull up too. But maybe today, maybe not. That was fascinating. Like I said, I know a lot of people are going to be bored. It's fucking 50-minute long video, so I apologize if it's too long for you. But these are the type of things that I'm interested in, so I'm going to, do that on the side. I know a lot of people like the disturbing videos and all that, but sometimes I want to just, watch a video that I'm interested in. And like I said, I do recruiting, so this will probably be similar to stuff that I end up watching.